How are you? Welcome again to our conversations about entertaining. The point behind entertaining is to have a good time. And I know that some of you live by yourself. And I'm not lamenting that because most of you have chosen that. But at the same time, you have very special problems in terms of entertaining. It is possible to entertain yourself, I suppose, but I much prefer to entertain myself with another person. For me, aesthetics means that I have someone to share the treasure with, you see. It's like going through a gallery all by yourself or going through a gallery with your lover. It's much more fun with your lover. The art is different. Everything appears different. So today we're going to cook for two, just two. And maybe I can give you a few gimmicks on how to make a, you can call it a romantic dinner, you can call it a practical dinner, but the point is we're trying to cook for two, just two. First of all, I want to make a salad for you. In the Pacific Northwest, we call this butter lettuce, but out here I think you call it a Boston bib. So what I want to do is to take a couple heads here, and we'll use the head. When you have just one person coming for dinner, you can be a little extravagant. I'm going to take the center right out of the head, you see. There it is. And this will make a salad for us. All right? We'll put that on a plate. Let me do a couple of these. The plate's too small. Let me get a couple of these prepared, and we'll make some dressing. And I'm going to fill these with shrimp. Pick out a good one here. You know, if you have only one person coming, you want everything to be very precise and attractive. Just take out the center so that you wind up with a kind of bowl. There. I'm always afraid that if I ever do that on camera, I'm going to wind up with a slug in here. You know that? Wouldn't that be awful? What would I say to you? I'd say, there's a slug in the lettuce. What else do you say? All right. Put the basket now away so we can chop up the lettuce just a tad. I just want to dice this a bit or cut it into strings. This is very tender. It's the heart of the lettuce, you see. And that will make the rest of our salad. Now, for the dressing, very, very simple and very, very good. We're going to prepare a bit of olive oil, about half a cup. Just right. And we'll follow that with a couple of tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Don't put too much in this, maybe even a tablespoon, because you don't want to cut the flavor of the shrimp. Heavy sauces on shrimp are just out of place. Just out of place. Even a remoulade bothers me if the shrimp's good. That's a heavy mayonnaise base, and I don't care for it. A shot of lemon juice, fresh, of course. I don't have to give you the sermon again about using lemon juice that was squeezed by somebody else. A little bit of lemon juice, and we're going to add some oregano and some dry mustard for our seasonings. And by dry mustard, I mean something like Coleman's. You see, there you are. That's very good English mustard. That's about 1/4 of a teaspoon, and the same with the oregano. Remember, we're cooking for two, just two, so you don't need an awful lot. Most of us, when we cook by ourselves, go overboard. That is to say, we cook so much stuff, we stick it in the refrigerator, and we have to eat it for 2 or 3 days, and then we get depressed, and pretty soon we're not eating properly. That's why I want you to invite someone in. So then you'll eat a much nicer meal. Okay, there we have the dressing. I think we need some pepper. Probably won't need much salt because the shrimp has a little salt on it, and the lemon juice will help cut our tongues as salt would. You see, so you can get by with very little salt. That'll be enough. All right, now then we'll put the dressing on our salad. That's a lot of dressing, but I'll show you what else I'm going to do. I can also sprinkle some of this dressing on the bib lettuce, you see, on the basket, or the Boston lettuce, whatever you call it. And we'll put some shrimp in here. There we go. I've pre-cooked these, of course, and then chilled them. You don't have to use the great big ones. These are only about $95 a pound, but you can buy a little salad shrimp. That'd be fine. They're much less expensive, and they would work fine. The little baby shrimp. Okay, we'll toss that. Yes, with your fingers. If this isn't, if you're entertaining someone who's that big of a fuss pot, why, tell them to come late. Then they won't know. Then they won't know. Now, we'll fill up our basket here, our little lettuce basket. Because, you know, you want the first course to be a little dramatic, you see. There, that'll be nice. And we'll do another one, and then set these aside, and we're ready for our guest. There we are. I think you should cut the bottom off on this lettuce. You see, if I'd cut this off properly so it would sit flat, it wouldn't roll around, because you must be very careful when you're entertaining someone so that you don't put them in a jam. And this may very well embarrass my guest if the basket tips over, you see, when they're trying to eat. So be careful with it. Make sure everything's ready so that they can be totally comfortable. There we are. All right. Excuse me. My towel fell off. There you are. Okay, that dish is done. Let's put it aside, and we'll go on now to a white fish dish. Fish, you're going from shrimp to fish? Yes, and then I'm going to do scallops. Remember, it's dinner for two. And fish has always been considered an aphrodisiac, right? We're not fooling around today. We're cooking. All right. The shrimp salad is ready in a Boston bib lettuce, or butter lettuce as we call it on the West Coast. And there, get a pan going. And we'll start in preparing our fish. I'll heat my pan and there we go. Now, for our fish, I'm going to use a white fish. You can use sole, flounder. This is a Lake Superior white. You can use anything you want. These pieces are too big, so let's cut them in half first. There we are. That's fine. And we're going to bread them with anything but bread. We're going to use filberts. Have you ever done this? There's a restaurant in the public market in Seattle, a place I really enjoy, and they bread their fish with filberts, or sometimes they're called hazelnuts. Now I need to grind these up a bit. I'm going to use my old coffee grinder, and it'll work well to get a kind of, let's hope it works well, yeah. All righty. Not too fine. There we are. There we are. Okay. And on it goes. There. I'm going to bread my, I'm not getting all of that out of there. Now we've got it. I'm going to bread my fish with the beautiful filberts. And in order to get the breading to stick, I'm going to put a little bit of lemon juice on it first. Here it is. A little bit of lemon juice on the fish. Just on one side, maybe a little salt and pepper. Okay, there we go. That'll do us. And rub that in. Pepper if you like. You won't need much. There we are. It's very, very simple. And we'll get some olive oil in the pan. Here it is. That pan's awfully hot. I think I may have gone too far here. Yes, it is too hot. So turn down the heat and at least get it off when you first throw them in, you see? We'll just take it off right now. All right, we're going to bread our fish now in the hazelnuts, or the filberts. Just throw them right on. Get a lot on there. And then lay them into the pan. Beautiful. Ah, I love that sound. You think this is too extravagant? Fish with hazelnuts? I don't think it's too extravagant. I have a neat friend coming, so it's all right. Actually, you know I'm very far from home. And I have trouble talking to you about today's subject, cooking for two, because I haven't had dinner with my wife for several nights. And I don't approve of that. Not at all. And I'm getting very melancholy today because she's my best critic, and she's also my best eating partner. Okay, there we are. Now, we'll saute that. Don't overcook fish. Remember, the Chinese rule is don't cook it, threaten it. And I think you should remember that when you're cooking too. I've had fish cooked, and deep frying fish. Oh, Lord, what for? There. You don't want to deep fry fish at all. You'll ruin it. I don't know of a single fish that can take a deep fry, unless it's a heavy cod, you know, for an English fish and chips. That might be all right. But otherwise, you're going to get into trouble. All right, let's make a sauce for this. I want a tablespoon of butter. I want a lemon butter sauce here. Tablespoon of butter. Boy, that's pretty hot. I'll get that off the burner too. It's just too hot. You don't want to burn that. Now, you see that's beginning to burn right away? So add some olive oil. We're going to try and prevent that right now. There we go. That'll do us. We don't want the sauce to be too dark. And we're going to add a tablespoon of flour to that, and we'll make a basic roux, you see? You know what a roux is? Half flour and half, there we go, half flour and half butter, so that we can thicken our sauce quickly and nicely. And I need more flour. That's not going to work. There we go. And you can make a roux out of vegetable oil and butter. You can do that easily, and then you wouldn't have quite so much butter, fat, or cholesterol in your food. That'd work fine. Now we're going to add some clam juice and some white wine, or fish stock. You see, about a cup. And we'll cook this now. I'm going to add some wine, but back on the burner it goes. This will thicken up for us, and we'll add a little bit of white wine. Time to turn the fish. Okay. You might want to add a bit of salt to this, and surely some lemon juice, but I have to turn my fish first. Here it is. There. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, don't overcook it, please. I'm going to spread the oil around. There we go. All right, the sauce is doing nicely. Let's put in some lemon juice, and I think we're ready to go. Look at that. I've shot 2 lemons already, and we're just getting started. That's all right. All right, there we go. You got the sauce. It's very simple. Make a roux, butter and flour, and then add a bit of clam juice or fish stock, about half a cup to a cup, and a little bit of white wine, just a shot, a little bit of lemon juice, and the sauce is ready. Actually, that one's too thin. I'm going to add some more. Wine to it. You can turn off that one. It's hot. There we go. Wine's a great thinner, not for your blood, but for your cooking. Don't ever add water. Add soup stock or wine, and then you'll get along with the world properly. Now, I'm not going to put the sauce on top of the fish because the fish is beautiful as it is. So I'm going to put the fish on top of the sauce. Put the sauce on the plate, you see. There we go. Isn't that cute? And on top of that, yes, that pan is as hot as you thought it was. On top of that, we'll put our fish. And we'll garnish that with a bit of, some fresh dill perhaps, or some parsley. I'm going to use dill. There we are. If these nuts continue in the pan here, they're going to burn up, so I want to get rid of them. We're going to use that pan for our next dish, which is also fish. Dill garnish. Oh, I don't need much, but, the idea that you should not do something extravagant just because there are 2 people there, or because you've been married 35 years, is just crazy. You should always have a good time. The table is the proper place for making love, for heaven's sakes. It's the most important room in the house, I'm convinced. Think of all the wonderful love scenes that you've known in history. Antony and Cleopatra, Tom Jones, that wonderful oyster-eating scene, Katharine Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart on the African Queen, when he turned to her and he said, "Madam, may I offer you some tea?" And she said, "Please, Captain." And he offered her a cup of rusty water out of the tank. Do you remember? That's intimacy. And it's always over food. Not the kind of breakfast that, what was his name, had with May in Public Enemy #1, Cagney. She made some wisecrack to him, and he picked up a grapefruit and pushed it in her face. Horrible thing to do. Not with food. Don't fight with food, please. That violates everything that we're trying to do in the Frugal Gourmet. Celebrate food. Have a good time and enjoy. Act like Tom Jefferson. He used to have sinful feast with lots of people, and most of them were girlfriends, but the boy could sure cook.